Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my students? I hope that you're happy and healthy and ready for today's lesson, which will be the Unit 2 conversation. But let's revise our previous lesson, the grammar, especially the passive tense. We use the passive to put the focus on the action. Remember that we use passive form to just focus on the action itself rather than the person who did the action, or as we named him, the doer. So we use the passive just to focus on the action rather than who did the action. Whether we know him or we don't know him, it's just to focus on the action itself. And we took the language builder here. In many cases, we can use either the past perfect or the simple past or the past progressive. Some cases we can use either past perfect, past progressive, or simple past. However, the past perfect helps make the order of the events clearer. You can choose whatever you want, but remember that the past perfect helps clears the events, the time of the events, the chronological time of the events much better. So today's lesson objectives to make use of real talk phrases in a real conversation. Make use of real talk phrases in a real conversation. Use the new words in sentences. Use the new words that you will learn today in sentences. So what do you see here in this picture? What's this man doing? What's happening to the person with the wallet? You can see here the man with the blue jacket. What's happening to the person with the wallet? What is this man doing? Yes, the man, he's being pickpocketed. Pickpocketed. What does it mean to be pickpocketed? Yes, to pickpocket is to take a wallet or anything from someone's pocket. From the name itself, pickpocket is to take something from someone's pocket without them feeling it or knowing it. To steal something from someone's pocket. So you can say the man with the blue jacket is being pickpocketed. So now we will listen to a conversation between Albert and Ali, and I want you to listen with your books closed. So now close your books and listen to the conversation to Albert and Ali, and pay attention to the details. So let's listen.
Crime doesn't pay. When traveling in cities, I used to worry about being pickpocketed. Then I learned how pickpockets do it. That taught me how to prevent it from happening to me.
So how do they do it?
Well, to begin with, they look for someone on the street who has stopped to look at buildings or people. That's one of the reasons tourists are an easy mark.
Then what happens?
The pickpocket will often pretend to bump into the victim by accident. He might act as if he's dizzy. He may ask you where you're from, act really friendly, and try to shake your hand.
Then what?
At this point, he might pretend to lose his balance and fall against you. Like this.
Then what?
That's it. You've let your guard down, and consequently, he's nabbed your wallet.
Are you kidding? Come on, my wallet couldn't possibly be stolen that easily.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Then what's this in my hand?
My wallet.
So Albert is telling Ali how they do pickpocketing. He's advising him how to prevent pickpocketing. He said, well, to begin with, they look for someone on the street who has stopped to look at buildings. When you stop on the street and you look at buildings, they know that you are a tourist. So they put a target mark on you to steal. That's one of the reasons tourists are an easy mark. An easy mark. They think that it's easier to pickpocket a tourist. Then what happened? The pickpocket will often pretend to bump into the victim. To bump, like he's walking and then he hit you, he bumped into you and say, I'm sorry. Then you check your pockets and maybe your wallet is gone, or maybe your watch is gone. He may ask you, he may ask where you're from. He act really friendly and try to shake your hand. So be careful. He might act friendly, ask you some questions, and try to act really friendly, all in order to pickpocket from you. So here we have some questions. How do pickpockets choose their victims? What do they do before they commit the crime? What do they do? What do you think Albert does when he says like this? What do you think Albert does when he says like this? Why is Ali surprised at the end of the conversation? So all of these questions will be answered once we listen again. Now we will listen again and try to read along. While you're listening, try to read along to the conversation between Albert and Ali and pay attention to the information regarding the questions that we have mentioned earlier. Let's listen again.
Crime doesn't pay. When traveling in cities, I used to worry about being pickpocketed. Then I learned how pickpockets do it. That taught me how to prevent it from happening to me.
So how do they do it?
Well, to begin with, they look for someone on the street who has stopped to look at buildings or people. That's one of the reasons tourists are an easy mark.
Then what happens?
The pickpocket will often pretend to bump into the victim by accident. He might act as if he's dizzy. He may ask you where you're from, act really friendly, and try to shake your hand.
Then what?
At this point, he might pretend to lose his balance and fall against you. Like this.
Then what?
That's it. You've let your guard down, and consequently, he's nabbed your wallet.
Are you kidding? Come on, my wallet couldn't possibly be stolen that easily.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Then what's this in my hand?
My wallet!
So, again, remember that pickpockets pretend that they're falling over you. They pretend that they're dizzy and they lose their balance and they fall on you. And once they do that, you can't feel anything because you're trying to catch him, to not making him fall. And because they're light-handed, maybe they put their hands in your pocket or in your jacket pocket and steal whatever you have here, maybe money, maybe your wallet from your pocket, or maybe your watch from your hand. Remember, they're light-handed and they are sneaky. So the first question here, what do pickpockets how do pickpockets choose their victims? How do they choose their victims? They have plans, they're organized. How do they choose their victims? Yes, they look for people who are looking at buildings and other things. They often choose tourists. They often choose tourists. Why? Because they know tourists have money. Because they know tourists have money in their wallets, and they're not paying attention to the street. They're always looking at the buildings. They're looking at all to the buildings. What do they do before they commit the crime? What do they do before they commit the crime? What do pickpockets do before they commit the crime? Yes, they bump into their victim or act very friendly to shake the victim's hand. Before they commit the crime, they try to get close to you, either by bumping or trying to act real friendly and shaking your hand. And with that, you don't feel, as I said before, they're light-handed. They can put their hands in your pocket and take it out without you feeling. So what do they do before they commit the crime? Before they take your wallet, they bump into their victim, they act friendly and shake the victim's hand. What do you think Albert does when he says like this? When Albert says like this, what do you think he did? Yes, he acts out what the pickpockets does. He acts out what the pickpockets does by bumping into Ali. The last question, why is Ali surprised at the end of the conversation? At the end of the conversation, Ali shouted, surprised. Why do you think that he was surprised? Again, why is Ali surprised at the end of the conversation? Yes, Albert has stolen his wallet from his pocket without him feeling. Without him feeling. He was confident that his wallet was still in his pocket, Then Albert showed him that his wallet was with him. That's why he was surprised. Albert has stolen his wallet from his pocket. Here's the real talk. Let's learn some new words. Easy mark. Easy mark. The tourist is an easy mark for the pickpockets. Really likely victims. Easy mark, likely victims. Most likely they will be the victims. By accident. When you say this happened by accident, I didn't mean to do it. It means not on purpose. I didn't intend to do it. There was no intention in doing it. Not on purpose. Let your guard down. Let your guard down. What's the meaning to let someone's guard down? Not be careful enough. If you're not careful enough, here you're letting your guard down. So you have to always be careful. Nabbed, when he said nabbed, it means that he stole. Nabbing something is stealing something. So before we continue, who says each phrase and why? Who says each phrase and why? The first phrase, an easy mark. Who says the phrase here? Very good. Albert says this to describe the type of person it's easy to steal from. Albert says this to describe the type of person it's easy to steal from. And he exampled here the tourists because they're always looking at the buildings. Second one, by accident. Who says by accident? Yes. Albert says this to explain that the pickpocket bumps into people and makes it look like it was not intentional. So he's acting that he's bumping into you, makes it that it was by accident, make you feel that you believe that he tripped over something or he lost his balance or that he felt dizzy. Again, by accident, not on purpose. Albert says this to explain that the pickpocket bumps into people and makes it look like it was not intentional, but of course, it's all planned. Let your guard down. Who says let your guard down and why? Let your guard down, yes. Albert says this to describe a moment when the victim stops paying attention and isn't careful. When you're a tourist, you're looking at things, looking at buildings or maybe sightseeing. Here you're letting your guard down because you're not being careful about the people around you and what are they doing. Albert says this again to describe a moment when the victim stops paying attention and isn't careful. Focus on the word a moment here, a short period of time. Sometimes it's just all it takes is a moment from you to let your guard down, to the pickpocket to steal or nab from you. Nabbed, again, stolen. Who says nabbed here? Yes, that's correct. Albert said this to describe the type of person it's easy to steal from. Albert says this to describe the type of person it's easy to steal from. Let's continue here with the real talk. Nabbed, stolen. As we said before, are you kidding? Are you kidding? It means, yes, are you joking? Are you kidding? Are you joking? Are you for real? This is you say this well, you don't believe what you just heard. Are you kidding? Are you joking? Are you for real? Is this what you're telling me is real? You don't believe it. Come on. When you say to your friend, come on. Yes, that's correct. Please be serious. You think he's kidding, you think he's joking, and you say, come on. It means that please be serious with me. I'm positive. I'm positive, it means I'm certain. When someone says to you, are you sure? Are you sure of something? You say, yes, I'm positive that this is what happened. I'm positive, it means I'm certain, I'm sure, etc. Again, who says each phrase and why? Nabbed, as we said before, Albert used this slang expression to mean stolen. Nabbed uses this slang expression to mean stolen. What about are you kidding? Who says are you kidding? Excellent. Ali says this because he doesn't believe, as I told you before, he doesn't believe that Albert's telling the truth. He thinks it's a joke. Sometimes when the truth, you don't believe it, a truth is so hard to believe that you think it's a joke. You say, are you kidding with me? Are you joking with me? Come on, please be serious. So this again, Ali says this because he doesn't believe that Albert's telling the truth. He thinks it's a joke. Come on, please be serious. Who says this phrase? Very good. It's a continuing. Ali wants Albert to stop kidding or joking. He still thinks that Albert is kidding or joking. Come on, Ali says this, thinking that Albert is kidding or joking. I'm positive. I'm positive. Yes, that's correct. Ali says this to emphasize that he is very sure no one could steal his wallet that easily. He said, I'm positive that my wallet's with me. You couldn't have stolen it. So he was mistaken, of course. Ali says this to emphasize that he is very sure, positive, as I said before, sure. No one could steal his wallet that easily. About the conversation, we have 3 questions about the conversation. Let's read them. Then we will listen to the conversation again. Then we will answer these questions. What crime are the people talking about? How does the crime happen? Explain the steps. Have you or anyone you know ever been pickpocketed or robbed? Have you ever, you or someone you know, been pickpocketed or robbed? What happened? So let's listen again and try to figure out the answers. Let's listen.
Crime doesn't pay. When traveling in cities, I used to worry about being pickpocketed. Then I learned how pickpockets do it. That taught me how to prevent it from happening to me.
So how do they do it?
Well, to begin with, they look for someone on the street who has stopped to look at buildings or people. That's one of the reasons tourists are an easy mark.
Then what happens?
The pickpocket will often pretend to bump into the victim by accident. He might act as if he's dizzy. He may ask you where you're from, act really friendly, and try to shake your hand.
Then what?
At this point, he might pretend to lose his balance and fall against you. Like this.
Then what?
That's it. You've let your guard down, and consequently, he's nabbed your wallet.
Are you kidding? Come on, my wallet couldn't possibly be stolen that easily.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Then what's this in my hand?
My wallet.
So now that we have listened again, what crime are the people talking about? Ali and his friend, what are they talking about? Yes, they're talking about pickpocketing. They're talking about pickpocketing. How does the crime happen? Explain the steps. As Albert said, explain the steps. Very good. Look for someone who isn't walking. Pretend to bump into the victim by accident. Shake the victim's hand. Act really friendly. Take wallet and walk away. They focus on someone who isn't walking, standing, watching the buildings, maybe taking photos, while they put their hands in your pocket and steal your wallet. Have you ever, or anyone you know, been pickpocketed or robbed? What happened? So you can answer this question by yourself or discuss the answer with your friend. Your turn here, ordering to begin with, once, at this point, consequently. So these are some expressions people use when describing a process in order to put the steps in the right order. So these expressions helps you to put your events in order. To begin with. This is the first thing you say. This is the first step. This is the first order. To begin with. Once, at this point, and consequently. Which expression does Albert use in the conversation from these four? Yes, to begin with and consequently. He uses to begin with and consequently. So role play with a partner. Think about a process for doing something. Explain the steps in the process to your partner. Use the phrases for ordering from the box. So use these expressions, role play with your partner, and discuss the results. And with that, we reach the end of the lesson. Thank you very much for listening. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.